Yeah, so today we're going to have a look at business analyst sorry, we'll start with Agile Scrum and then we'll go into business analyst. These are the process who are normally, very much what you can say, observed by the management, mostly top management. It's a top-down approach. Whenever it comes to, Agile, Scrum, and all these project management methodology, the top management first decides and then it percolates down to the last developer, last, analyst, last even office boys and all those things. So this is a kind of mindset we are talking about. They call it methodology, but it's more of mindset. So the overall agenda is basically we'll start with Agile. What is Agile? What is Scrum? Then we'll have a look at Agile, Scrum frameworks or event. The maximum interview questions, if you put this Agile word in your profile, they normally ask you about the framework, events, frameworks, auditory, facts, and principles. So we'll look at these things today. Then we'll understand what is the requirement elicitation. Elicitation is basically a process. Even you can have a look at it, in on Google and all. This is like understanding how the communication is getting transferred, and we are not having any loss on such. It's a psychological communication, term, but which normally talks about getting the thoughts completely transformed from one person to another. You can do it in writing, right? Communication channels, we are speaking, so it's a communication channel. Then we have other channel like a written, later, email, chat, WhatsApp, and all those things. These are communication channels. Now, what do you mean these thoughts are transferred correctly? There are quite a few good number of jokes, satire on elicitation. So whatever you speak, the other party might understand, might misunderstand you. So misunderstanding is a part of elicitation. It's a acronym. It's a against elicitation. So whenever you are couldn't basically convey your thoughts, but still you're speaking, still you're trying to do it again and again, and those things are basically kind of anti-elicitation. So we want to acquire elicitation. That's then we're going to understand unified modeling language. Now this is the most advanced architecture standardized language in software designing. Now we are coming into the engineering concept of software designing, and that's really great to understand how these mind thoughts in terms of improving from the good old let's do that kind of scenario to basically a uniformity in drawings. So there are around 20 21 odd drawing in UML. Again, depending upon the adaptability of organization, we'll start with use case development. So use case is basically the primary understanding of how that system requirements are being transferred to a drawing, and how that drawing will takes care of how the software has to be developed, what are the modules, parts, and so on and so forth. And then we have storytelling. This is the most important, or most what you can say, agile improvement in UML. So we are moving from uh, furthermore usability, furthermore user concentric. Sorry, no problem. So more of a user, concentric approach in in storytelling. It's called user stories as well. Okay, so here we are trying to understand what is the big story. So what you want to make? You want to make HR system. So who are the actors? Actors means who are going to do work on the system. So first is your HR executive, then is your attendance management, then is your pay scale, then is your leave management, and so on and so forth. So these are all part of the HR system. Are you with me on this? Could you understand what I'm trying to speak here?
Yes, yes.
So
Yes, sir.
we call HR system as an epic. We call attendance system as another epic or sub epic, and then we build stories. So how do new HR executive will be get registered with system? So what type of things you're going to get it from him? This is a story I'm telling you, right? So what I'll need his or her name, his or her birth date, his or her address, his or her some ID, government issued ID, as required by North American laws, legal system, and so on and so forth. So this is the story I'm taking. So what I have to refer, this story tells me I have to refer the North American legal system for what are things required by law to get those new HR executive into my system. So this is a story I'm telling you. So here you can understand how that requirement is basically explained, applied, implemented in the last level of software building. These are all block of software whatever we're going to create for HR system. So this is and these are also called manageable user story. So what we do, a story which a developer can build within let's say 3 days. So like 6 into 3, 36 hours. That's a normal industry accepted benchmark in North America and Canada. So these are called manageable user story. We will going to understand these things. If you want, I can give you hands-on workshop also on this. I do this training for storytelling, UML. I was associated with OMG Group. Okay, this group is situated corporate headquarters in St. Louis, Missouri, and I was lucky to get involved with them as a consultant. I used to work with really big names like Grady Booch and all those things. These are the forefathers of UML. So I was basically involved in creating UML 1.2 notation. What do you mean by creating?
Okay.
Sorry,
I
there are
know. I said that would be good
yeah.
to get
These
a
notations
hands-on.
are
Yeah.
basically accepted all over the world. When you say actor, so how the actor should look like, how the use case. Actor is basically a person who is working with the system. Use case is basically what he or she is going to do or doing or done and waiting for results. And these kind of things are called use cases. We're going to have a look at this use case also. So that's what it's called, use case development. Okay. So whatever we build into the systems are basically the use case. And we're going to learn it, believe me. And this really look it as a best possible scenario which can be acted upon in a in any given circumstances. So even if I want to make a tea, make a coffee, I can build a UML for that. And I'll basically, that's the best example Grady Booch used to give us. Think about making a coffee and making a tea and build a use case diagram for that, and we'll work on that as well. That's the simplest diagram we can do. Then user acceptance testing. Now when it comes to the latest sixth generation languages, now, okay, these generation of languages, basically, we talk about the software evolution thought process in terms of how mature the software is. So 6GL is basically started from 2023, 24, 25. We are still in the sixth generation. Somebody might call eighth generation, seventh generation, but according to software engineering norms, which are created by IEEE, International Engineering Institute. If you look at IEEE.org, IEEE.org, that's the standardized regulatory body over the globe, which is situated in Philadelphia, North America. But they have offices all around the globe. Believe me, it's one of the most largest network for educational institution. And these guys do, benchmark like noise resolution, noise spreading. These guys, give uh, benchmark on how much frequency of your television is good for your eye, how much your mobile brightness should be in the night, in the day, how much the mobile ring should be maximized in terms of you want maximize ring, what type of frequency are good for human, bad for human, frequency in audio frequency. Even for eyes there are certain light which damage your eye retina and all those things. So what are such lights? These are all engineering benchmarks are given by this IEEE. So we're going to have a look at IEEE site also, and then they come up with this user acceptance testing as a benchmark for software being accepted by the user. And these users can be, let's say, financial user, banking user, human resource users, scientist users, engineering users, or construction users, and so on and so forth. So we have category of users, again done by industry, and then the benchmark set by industry as well as IEEE. But IEEE have the repository, have the archival for all these benchmarks. We need to understand this because as an analyst, as a scientist, as a student, or as working executive, you should know about IEEE. As in every engineer normally gets a 1 year membership for IEEE. But if you want, you can get it at around $132 per year. I don't think you need that right now. But if you are going to be a data scientist, these guys have a separate what you can say portal for data scientists. So you normally subscribe to the new library coming. If you want to release a new library, right? In Python, in Excel, microprogramming, in terms of R, in terms of Microsoft cognitive programming, you normally mention it there. Yeah, I'm designing a new library. This will be my library, and this is my GitHub link. So GitHub link where you normally deploy your code if you want to build a open system library. If not, then you can just tell them about this is how I'm coming up with this library, and so on and so forth. And these basically can be presented for your patent and copyright as well. So that's how IEEE is an umbrella body for all these benchmarks, regulations, and even closely work with patents and copyright within the North American, Canadian, Indian judiciary, where these guys ask, "Hey boss, I believe we had that old patent, right? Is it similar to this? What are the similarity?" And judiciary basically involve IEEE expert as an auditory body to understand the compatibility of new patent or copyright against the old patent and copyright. So that's why this is really important to understand how IEEE functions. And we should know about this IEEE. I think that's more than enough for you. Okay. Then we have tools. We're going to learn around 16, 17 tools. Again, a kind of brush up for these tools, and I'll share a good number of videos with you where you can go there and try to practice on their own. And what I would really suggest as a business analyst, you should master at least 3 to 5 tools, and I'll tell you which are the easiest one. uh, but whenever you are on the interview, you need to brush up your knowledge. You need to make something like cue card or reference material on your desk about these tools so that you can guide them. These tools can be as simple as SWOT analysis, as simple as mind maps, as simple as flowchart, and so on and so forth. There are a good number of tools, and we're going to learn. And right now, the best software in terms of project management is Jira. Okay, so we're going to understand how this works, because here, whatever user story you make, right, for software architecture start, you normally deploy it over here. And whatever they normally formulate a ticketing thought process. What is ticketing? If they couldn't understand anything, or there are conflict between one story and another, or if there are a challenge in basically building the story, you can put it, or list it on a Jira, and we'll look at that as well. So Jira is the software which is used by most of the project management software in North America and Canada. Okay, in India or even in North America, there are good number of project managers who use Microsoft Project also, but that's again going towards the more of management rather than analyst, right? And we'll discuss these things slowly, steadily, progressively. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay,
No, nothing.
let's start. Let's start with Agile Scrum. Now, there is a project management. Let's understand a software company who's trying to build a game or an HR system. Let's say HR system, simple one, I believe, right? So let's say Ravindra Pande creates a company, cloud HR software. And what I was planning to give some licensing to various HR agency so that they don't have to have HR software. And HR software includes leave management, attendance management, conference management, daily in out time, the employee efficiency, the new employee registration, new HR executive registration, even parking, and various other. This list can go on. Somebody might have the security system, the office security system, and the physical security under HR system also. I've seen such systems, but again, it's a never-ending story. So let's consider.
What does parking mean?
Parking means okay. Let's say I'm working for enterprise rent a car. There are 3 buildings of 6 floors for your car parking. Okay, or bike parking, whatever you know. So what I have to do, whenever you join such company, you need to process your requisition for a parking. There are flexible parking and there are confirmed parking.
Oh,
Now,
okay, I get it.
flexible parking, you have around 4 floors and you can park anywhere. For confirmed parking, they'll give you this floor, this number. So third floor, 21st is your parking thing. And they might charge you something like, $2 a month or something like that. Again, you have timings. So nobody will park in your parking spot. If you have confirmed parking, if you have open parking, then this, there are number. But in North America, that's not a challenge. If you look at something like Mumbai, right? there are a good number of challenges because we normally have lesser parking than the employees. In North America, we have ample of parking as per the program, as per the employees, as per the, guest and all those things. Even in Mumbai, the guest is responsible for his parking. That's a social norm, unwritten rule, as what we normally say. But in North America, it's expected that you are coming by car and there'll be a parking reserved for you. So let's say if you're going to give interview in Bank of America, New York office. Well, New York is kind of fishy, but still, the Bank of America will make sure that they'll reserve a spot for you for at least 3 hours. This is a social norm. Nobody can sue you for sue them for these things, but this is normally what you can say appreciated social norm. Like whenever you're calling somebody, you'll make sure you'll have their car parked securely. Does that make sense, madam, sir?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I
So
get
now
it.
this is what we call management, right? Overall management. Now there are unwritten rules, there are written rules. Again, we have to consider everything. These are called functional and non-functional requirement. We'll come to that also in types of requirement. Understand the way the software should be made is a definitive complex thought process. So there'll be a manager who is responsible for the whole management in terms of getting into the team, making sure he knows whatever software has to be made, what type of tools, what type of programming language, platform, and so on. So there are a good number of what you can say variables, good number of uncertainties involved, and that's why we have management. So when it comes to automation, right? People say management has to be automated, but till date there are good number of even thesis PhD abstracts approved and explained on converting management into an automated process, but which is as I believe or as a normal manager will believe, that's not possible because there are too many non-scientific variables into every management. You can think of parking, right? Now, when it comes to guest parking, let's take that example. You have, given a timing for an interview to X person, and this person is a handicapped person. Let's imagine that. Now, when it comes to, Bank of America parking, he say, I'm handicapped. So, how can I park on third floor and come to your office, right? How could you expect that? And you have my resume and all. So Bank of America says, oh man, now I need to vacate, what I can say, handicap parking for this person. So he might allow, an emergency parking or parking for emergency vehicle, which is not legally allowed, but still that HR might allow that person to park in such and such scenario as an exception. This is also, to be done. And these are called non-conformities. Now, these non-conformities are basically a kind of legal challenges for every organization. Okay, so this way we need to get everything working, right? So how do you want everything to be working and get to the results? Manager is the person, manager is the go-to guy who is responsible for such scenario, who will take the decision, who might take a hit in terms of auditory challenges, in terms of various other challenges. We'll come to that slowly, steadily. So that's why we need a management. Now, when it comes to management, in good old days, there are a number of thought processes evolved. This was in almost starting from 1500 century and so on and so forth. That's how we improved or we evolved the management in terms of how could do a better management. Even let's think about making a tea, right? You are making a tea. If your teapot is in other room, your tea powder is in third room, and your tap is in the fourth room, then making tea is a very confusing process. So what you do, you normally build your gas near your tap, not just beside the tap, but near your tap. You hang your pots, just over your, what I can say, stove, or near your stove. You keep tea powder, whatever masala, sugar, milk, everything ready when you start making tea. Are you with me? I believe we have gone to similar situations.
Yep.
Yeah. So how do you come to that? This is what he called evolved efficiency of process or management in short. So whenever you're trying to improve your life, it comes some under paradigm of management. Whatever I'm trying to improve myself, trying to have a safer life, trying to have least problem within my life. That's all these things are included in the management of life. Even the legalities are part of the management of the life. And this is how we use work. We are working or we are, what you can say, getting matured day by day. Okay. Now, I'll come to the latest thought process. Agile is what you talk about, the flexibility and understanding the user's need, or keeping the user first, as they call in the principle. So Agile works on 12 principle and 4 columns or 4 pillars, as we normally call it. And we're going to learn that thing in a minute or two. So Agile is the latest evolved project management thought process, project management methodology. And within that, there's something called Scrum. So in Agile, we have quite a good number of management processes, good number of management channels in flexible management way, like extreme programming, pair programming. There are, around, I don't know, again, we are talking about management. So there are a good number of types available under Agile umbrella as well. But the most adopted in IT or software industries, Agile Scrum. Scrum is basically a thought process of the way football teams plans their play. Football team, right? Football, or what do you call them? Football, right? In America, you play football with man.
volleyball, football,
Soccer.
cricket,
उसको दूसरा क्या बोलते फुटबॉल को अमेरिका में?
Soccer. Soccer.
Right, soccer.
soccer.
Soccer is the famous game, right? So within
Yes.
starting soccer, right? You've seen this player. They stand nearby each other's with their head touching each other, and they discuss something for 3 to 5 minutes at the max. 5 minutes is the timeline. This is what they call a Scrum meeting or a Scrum project management thought process. This is what adopted by the software industry as the most flexible, most formulated approach to design, develop software. Okay, so when somebody asks what is Agile and Scrum, Agile is basically flexibility and user-centric approach. Scrum is basically building the software with a daily meeting or a daily flexibility or iterative flexibility. Because whenever there is a goal miss, these guys come together, they touch their head, they had certain disciplined way of discussing things and changing our approach, changing our strategy, changing our tactics to fit the current need. And that's what the Scrum is all about. Have you understood in the layman's term what is Agile and Scrum?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll basically share this recording also, so you can have a look at that as well. Again, we are moving a bit at a faster pace, so please be with me. I know Agile itself normally takes around 3 to 4 weeks to understand, because there are a good number of how it's evolved, what are waterfall, and so on and so forth. So there are a good number of things. So we are not going to work as a project manager, but as a most adopted thought process. Wherever you join, you'll have something called daily Agile meet or daily meet, and this is a part of Agile ceremonies. Sorry. And we'll understand how this is formulated, what are the way it's conducted, and what is an analyst part of it, be it a business analyst, a data analyst, or any other analyst for that matters. So you'll be a kind of project management team member, and we'll have to believe or expected to believe in certain way, and that's why we need to understand this Agile and Scrum principle. An Agile Scrum environment is a project management approach emphasizes, give me a minute please. Yeah, approach that emphasizes iterative development. Iterative is you change it according to the current scenario, the current problems you are facing, and then you adopt those things and move ahead. So that's what the agility is all about. Agility is flexibility. Okay, so if you search agility in dictionary, it's a flexibility, and then you have user-centric approach on top of everything. Okay, that's how the Agile is adopted in software, this software development methodology, and continuous feedback. And we are how do you adapt to the user need with the continuous feedback? So you'll ask user, am I walking in the right direction? Is that's what we are looking for? Is that what we are needing? And so on, so forth. Okay, so these are what we can say It's a specific framework within a broader agile philosophy that uses short time boxed iteration. Boxed in the sense fixed duration. The duration has been fixed prior to starting the process, and iteration is called sprint to deliver value. This is a basic thought process. You don't have to explain this definition to anyone, so I'll not harp on that. But still, it'll be there for you to understand, to read as well. Scrum provides a structured way to implement agile principle, including defined role. So what do you mean by defined principles or defined way of or disciplined way of working? You have defined roles, defined events, and defined artifacts. Roles means who is going to do what. Events it what are the things which we need to be a part of in terms of meeting, in terms of audits, and so on and so forth. And artifacts, whenever you are developing something, what could be the outcome? So what could be the result? So if you are developing a software, you have certain documents to be created, you have certain codes. So code is basically the prime output here, but for that you need a supporting documents, you might need a supporting training for that, and you might need to provide even supporting auditory artifacts. Artifacts, as basically it's a legal term which talks about which can be tangible or intangible in terms of entity. Entities like when you make tea, right? That T, what you're targeting to is my artifact, because T is going to come out of the whole process as a result. So unless and until I have that quality T, right, the process might be called as a failure. Are you with me, sir, madam?
Yes.
So if the tea is
Yes.
not good, if the coffee is not good for your drinking, the whole management goes for a toss. So the project was a failure. So what is a project? Project is certain things which you target to do, and you try to avoid all the obstacles in between. Like I said, I need to get a job. So job acquisition is my project. So with that job acquisition, what are the things I need to do? What are the things I need to create, supply, even learn, and so on and so forth? So these processes has to be managed correctly. So how do I do? Project is a temporary endeavor, so it has a start date and end date. I'm basically telling you the definition, but it's not required here, because project is how the definition also evolved over the time. And the best project management institution is PMI, Project Management Institute. It's a organized body, no profit institutions, where we normally share various management process to the world, like IEEE, Project Management Regulatory Bodies, PMI. Okay, so this PMI Institute have a certain way of disciplining project management thought process. Whenever you get bored with something, you want to read something new, please go and visit pmi.org. This talks about how the management's thought processes evolved. What do you mean by project? What do you mean by management? How that project success can be qualified. So you need to build a project statement. So project statement gives you a idea, like making tea. I want to make a tea, or I want to make tea daily. So every daily tea making is my project. So let's say I'm making a tea on for 6 June early morning. Let's take an example. So what I'll do, I woke up. No, I need a tea, right? And that's normal, need. So what I do, I go there. I, get a pot, get a water, put it to boil, add some masalas or tea powder, whatever your normal thought process. And there are a number of, how to make a good tea videos on YouTube. And that's also you can watch earlier. But if not, you know how to make a tea for you, because you are doing it for so many years. So it's kind of very matured project processes for you. So you have the tea powder, pot, tap, gas, stove, masala, all those things ready for you, right? So this is, you're doing it without knowing, but this is the kind of project we're talking about. Are you with me, sir, madam?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes. Yeah.
this is how the project is being planned. This is how the project processes have been adopted and evolved. Okay, you might call it as a sprint. So making tea is my daily sprint. So each tea might taste different. but I would like to, make it better and better day by day. So one time I might try ginger, other time I might try ginger powder, one time I might try elaichi or cardamom, other time I might try lemongrass. So there are n number of what you can say improvements you can do. But could you do all at once? No, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so I go one step at a time. So what are the steps in this project? I take a pot, the teapot where I have to, boil that tea. I'll put some water. Again, putting water is an approximation process, or it can be a definite process. Approximate process means I'll just hold a, pot while I'm sleepy and get it filled like, one third or something like that. Put it on a stove, lit the stove, put the tea powder or masala, whatever I want, and may take it to the boil. As simple as that, as layman's term as that. But when I, as an a defined human, when I'm a kind of what I can say scientific human, what I really understand how much water I should take. So I'll take a cup first. Take a cup of water. So after boiling, it will be reduced to something, and then I'll put that much milk in that. But these differences I've learned over time. Again, this is a part of evolution and maturity. One is different from others. So me as a person, different from Sahil sir, different from Baroda ma'am, and so on and so forth. Again, depending upon my likings, I'll change the process. I'll adapt to the process. But again, every day it's called a sprint of tea making or a coffee making, whatever you like. And this is how a project can be understood. Okay, the sprint duration is no longer than 1 month. That's a standard project management approach, have been accepted by PMI institutions and globally everywhere. Again, can I make a sprint of 40 days? Yes, you can. Nobody's going to sue you for that, but it makes a bit complex to manage. It's the things get out of hand quite soon if you're not following the standard evolutionary thought process. It's like learning from other mistakes. Most of the humans learn from other mistakes, but there are the humans who couldn't learn from the others mistakes. They might call low on evolutionary ladders and so on and so forth. And this is a kind of step towards the intelligence also. So when you try to learn artificial intelligence, right, you need to understand what is intelligence, and it's a part of intelligence. If you're not evolving day by day, you're not intelligent enough. You're not different from any animal. Even animal learns. And if you can understand, even today's machines are not intelligent than a 3-year-old baby or than a 5-year-old dog. I'm just giving you the actual scientific thought process as of today in terms of intelligence and the artificial intelligence and all. And we have something called IQ, intelligent quotient. Again, this is also not perfect in its sense, but still some scientists have sat down and tried to understand how to measure intelligence. So they have these IQ score. Okay, and these IQ scores are measured for a human by asking or taking or recording his response to certain questionnaires. And this is how these guys do. Again, it's not a perfect science, but still some people get calibrated higher and lower, again depending upon the time of the day, their situation, their mental states, and blah 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 thing. So there are quite a few good number of what I can say disturbance to intelligence also. If you are angry, your disturbance goes to the lowest level. How we have learned these things? Because we have evolved. Our thought process is evolved. Okay, so whenever you're angry, please don't speak too much, or please use your mostly body language to convey your thought. Don't use your mouth. This is a normal thing, but we still use our mouth, because whenever you're angry, your, I'll not say brain shuts off, but that's not a medical phenomena. But still, if you think it in a evolutionary way, your brain almost shuts off, and you start either screaming because your mouth is not under control of your mind, and so on and so forth. This is how that angry situation is explained. Again, is it a scientific? No, there are quite a few another things which we have not yet understood, not yet analyzed correctly. Are you with me, sir, madam?
Yes, yes.
We are getting haywire, but management or need of management requires to understanding of this intelligence, or how the evolutionary process in human works. So the AI is a part of management one way or the other, or management is a part of AI as well. Okay, so it's kind of supplementary in terms of scientific human behavioral understanding. Okay, again, I'll not go to the philosophy. It is really big discussions to talk about. Okay, so sprint duration. So when it comes to a defined thought process, it has been came to a conclusion by some scientific methodologies. Some scientists, some analysts have came to a conclusion that my tea should be ready by at least 5 minutes. That's the normal thought process. My tea, even including boiling tea, water, this, that, another, shouldn't take more than 5 minutes because I have other things to do, and so on and so forth. So this is the kind of normal thought process. Even with project management, you shouldn't have a project. Normally, they categorize the project: small, medium, large. So when it comes to a small project, which can be addressed completely within 3 months. There are long, medium project which can be from 3 months to 3 years, and above and below, above and beyond 3 years is my large project. Again, these are the standard. These standards can be changed to like 1 month, 3 months, and 3 months and beyond. But normally, whatever the project management institution have been categorized, they have this duration wise category, they have financial limit wise category, and so on. So how they come to this conclusion? They've studied good number of projects, they've studied good number of executions done by human, and they try to come up with a analytical figure of this much, or a generic figure of how do you categorize these things. Okay, now here we are coming about the Scrum. We are thinking about the Scrum. It is likely a daily short meeting between team and members, having 3 to 9 members who divide their work and complete their task within the given time, the iteration called sprint. So this is what talks about the Scrum meet or a daily meet. Since daily meet is a very short meet, again, whoever project management thought process have implemented Agile Scrum in their project management, they normally do this daily meet with the team. Just check out what's remaining. That's called backlog. What I'm going to do today is my current scenario, current executions, and whatever I'll basically plan it tomorrow or day after tomorrow. That's future planning in terms of the project execution. Okay, and we'll learn this terminology one way or the other. Okay, any questions so far on this slide?
No.
Okay. Now, this is a typical, some Scrum thought process where we try to understand a process in a single go. So we have scope definition. So we have we have requirements which are coming in. Again, they are continuously. So once I, give a contract to let's say even making tea, right? Let's say you hired a nearby hotel or a caterer. So you're going to deliver me tea at such and such morning. So I have a bell besides my bed. I pressed that bell, and that guy came running from that shop to my house. Please have your tea or coffee. I can plan this thing, right? Or you're rich enough to have a cook at your disposal, and whenever you wake up, you might press a button so that light in the cook's chamber will lit, and the cook will carry the tea towards wherever you want to have a tea with some breakfast paper and blah 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 things. That's the normally scope or the requirement what you're talking about. These things do change. So one time I might have a ginger tea because it's colder season. If it's a summer season, I might like cardamom. Or if I like lemongrass, so I might like lemongrass, right? And there are n number of such flavors or aromas to be added to the tea. I'm talking more of tea because I'm a tea person. I don't know about coffee, but yes, there are n number of coffee types like Spanish coffee, this coffee, that coffee, and all those things. I don't know too much, so I'm talking about tea as a on a generic scale. Okay, please don't get offended if you like coffee. Even I like coffee sometimes. Again, this is all the flexibility of the requirement. And then what is product backlog? Whatever history I have, how much I can do today, how much maximum I can do today. So I have a time limit. The tea should be delivered to such and such room. I might take tea within so many minutes. So like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Again, depending upon your need, you normally plan these, timings, plan these, what you can say, project depending upon your historical figures or previous pending task. Okay, so product backlog are basically a list of requirement which are not yet completed. Okay, and then you have a design. So you adopt the product backlog to design, saying, okay, in a management for a given day, I'll complete this, 9 tasks or 11 tasks for with the 9 developers or with the 9 executives. Again, these change daily. Okay, now these are the 3
Can I
standard.
ask you something?
Yeah, please go ahead.
The backlog,
Uh-huh.
does it follow the 2 week sprint process?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, but when it follows that, then it comes into progress, right? Then it's no longer backlog.
Okay, backlog is a total list of requirements you have in your hand. So there could be a requirements which can be completed in the next sprint. Are you with me, ma'am?
Okay. Yeah. So that means it moves to the sprint then eventually.
It might move to this sprint, current sprint. It might move to the next sprint or the sprint after that.
Okay. Okay.
The backlog is a total list, and lists get segregated as per my planning.
Yeah.
That's why I have first scope is like I need to build T or I need to build HR system. Product backlog, today I'm going to work on attendance system. It can be card swipe, it can be fingerprint reader and blah blah things. And that's how I'm going to get record attendance. While coming in, while going out, I might have another record. So these type of records I need to build. So today I'm going to do this just the attendance system. So what it needs to be done for attendance system? I need a fingerprint reader or a card reader. Again, depending upon the project cost, how many doors have to be covered today? Could we cover all the doors of the office today? No, there are 16 doors. So what I'll do 4 today, 4 tomorrow, and 4, 4, 4. So with this complete week, I'll cover these 16 doors. So I might have a sprint of a monthly sprint. I might have a sprint of weekly sprint. So in a week sprint, I'm covering all the doors. So that's my product backlog addressal for a given uh, given sprint. But I might have fingerprint reader as well somewhere, right, for HR approval and blah blah things. So these fingerprint readers has to be supplied on their desks. So how do I do it? I'll do it in the next sprint. That's my next sprint. But it's part of the product backlog. Has to be done, right? That's how it's defined. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
So it just mean it doesn't mean that it has to be done in the next sprint. It could be done in the
Current
future
sprint, next
sprints as
sprint,
well.
next sprint. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Okay.
All these,
We can also increase the product backlog, or it's just
it's
max
on
2 weeks.
it goes on increasing and decreasing. That's the beauty of flexibility. See, we have a
Okay.
scope. Scope is I need to build HR system. Some management decided will have a card swipe system rather than fingerprint reader. So I've installed card swipe system at everywhere. Now, whenever HR approval things like that, rather than fingerprint reader, I might have a card swipe machine at their desk as well, because approval needs card swipe, right? Rather than a physical person, I need a card swipe there. So I'll put a card swipe on their desk as well. Does that mean that whenever that card gets swiped, they're going to go out of office or coming in? No, there are some approval who required card swipe. So these type of different functionality get addressed in different sprint. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah. So whenever these 4 things, right? Scope is more or less constant, but it might change. Backlog again, more or less, common, but still might change. It might get something added or subtracted. It might be very small thing like changing the color of screen, or getting a better card reader, or some doors might have a card reader, some doors might have a fingerprint reader, and according to the thought process of the client or the user, we might change certain things. And that's why the flexibility is all about. And so the design gets affected. Okay. And after a sprint, a usable software is delivered. So what I'm doing, I'm installing this card reader first on the 4 doors on a daily basis. Right now, Does it mean that I can't give a card reader to the executive desk? I can, but I need to have so many executive working on a given project. So maximum executives are basically 20. That's what Agile suggests. You can have a departmentalized development thought process. So one department might be doing a card reader fixation. Other department might be doing the fingerprint reader fixation and the integration with the system. It means that the system should understand the card reader, the fingerprint reader, and so on and so forth. So who is doing what and all those things. So this is what they call usable software. These four things are constant for the project, or rather follow a throughout project life cycle. But the sprint, the circular thing is a Scrum methodology. So we have a daily meet. It's called sprint planning meet, daily Scrum meet, or just a daily meet. We have to adopt what I can do within this sprint. And daily I strategize to make sure I'll get the best fee possible on a given day. Could you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Okay. Sprint backlog is a backlog. It's a part of product backlog, whatever I have tabled for the given sprint. So for a given sprint, we have 9 people and we can do these 11 things because we have 6 hours a day to work. That's American labor standards. You can plan a work for 6 days. So it's legally implemented. In India, the labor law is not that implemented. So we might plan 9 hours a day. But in US, you plan 6 hours a day. Again, these are the management thought processes which are evolved to the day. So I plan a sprint backlog of 6 hours per day for the given number of sprints. So if I have a daily sprint and it do happens in number of cases, so we have these daily 6 hours planned for a given resource. So some task might take 6 hours, some task might take 2 hours, some task might take more than 6 hours. So the task which takes less than 6 hours, I might add another task to that 6 hours as a next task to be done by the executive. Are you with me? Yeah. So this is how I plan the current sprint. So at the start of a sprint, I built a sprint backlog with the help of sprint planning meeting. And then I have a daily scrum also. This daily scrum, right? Daily scrum, I strategize on daily basis. So if my sprint is of a month, on daily basis, I have a daily scrum where quickly I normally, and it's called a stand-up meeting as well, wherever I check with everybody. So what have you achieved yesterday? What are the obstacles and what I can do today? As simple as this. This 3-point agenda is followed on a daily scrum. Like tea. What type of tea do I like today? Ginger, cardamom, or lemongrass? Is lemongrass available? Is ginger available? Or I have to use the dry ginger powder? Again, depending upon the things at hand, depending upon the flexibility I can build to the table, I get adopted to the daily project thought process. Does that make sense? Hello, can you hear? Yeah.
Yes.
And I let this sprint automation because it's again what things you can automate. Can have a tea making machine. Well, tea making machine is not that common, but coffee making, yes. So what I do in coffee making machine, I wake up, I press a button, or I get that machine started. I brush my teeth and I do whatever morning chores I need to do, and then that till I come back, I have a mug full of tea, a mug full of coffee. I might add, sugar, milk, cream, and what not I need in the coffee, and I start drinking coffee. So that's the kind of automation I'm talking about. So here I'm not collecting anything. I'm just pressing a button, and at the end of the day, that my project is completed. This is what we call automation. Okay, but again, depending upon your project, depending upon n number of things you can automate, there's a limitation to the automation. Okay, after a daily meet, which can be not exceeding, I think 10 minutes is a current limit. I start working. So within 6 hours, I need to execute that work which I have planned in daily scrum for a given day. Sprint review meeting. Within a sprint, after a sprint, let's say I have a weekly sprint, on Friday evening, I might have a sprint review meeting where I try to compare product backlog, sprint backlog, and what are the things are completed within these things. Whatever I planned, Does that get executed every time? No. And that's what the management is all about. So what are things I got executed? Well, out of 12 tasks, I might have executed 11. So one task get carried forward. So why it's, why it was a problem, why it's not carried forward, that's what the thought process I need to implement. That's what the adoptions I need to do in my next sprint. So that'll be an action point for the sprint planning meeting. Okay, sprint review meeting is reviewing, sprint retrospective is adapting to the changes, adapting to the challenges, obstacles. Okay, so these are the two meetings which I do after the sprints get completed. If you have a weekly sprint, again, if your weekly sprint is ending on Wednesday, you might have a meeting on Wednesday evening, and you plan these two things. There are two artifacts get generated with sprint review meeting. What are the things which are left in sprint retrospective? What are the obstacles? Who's going to address them, and how you can get addressed before we start the next sprint? Because sprint is continuation of work from the next day to the end of the previous day, and that's why they call daily is the basic what I can say entity. So you can't have a sprint less than a day because it's too cumbersome. There are too many meetings for doing the work, which is a kind of overload.
I have a question.
Please go.
So let's say there was a task that was to be completed in the sprint that was ended today, but it didn't get completed. So that moves into retrospective, and then it goes into the next sprint. I mean, moves to the next to the sprint
Yeah, that's called a sprint backlog.
backlog. Okay.
Okay, so that's right. Sprint backlog is a subset of product backlog. So there are entities we normally plan on hourly or minute basis, again, depending of the project management adoption of a given organizations. We normally adopt these things for a sprint. Even the sprint duration is defined on how much, how big is your team, how can flexibly you adopt to the number of requirements to be completed in a given sprint, and so on and so forth. So this is how we decided. Again, whenever you join a team, you'll know this thing practically. If you've done these things, you know what I'm talking about. Is it required right now? Yes, for the interview clearance, obstacle clearance. But when it comes to actual practicability, your thought process might get tweaked a bit. Okay, so please don't, what I can say, don't generate prejudice. That's what I'll suggest right now. But start, understanding is an evolutionary thing. Okay, and try to understand what are the meaning of word rather than learning the definition. That's what I'll suggest. Just meaning of the word. What is mean by scope? What do you mean by product backlog? Design, we all know. What do you mean by usable software? So software which the user can use, can test, can have a look at is usable software. Does that mean every sprint gives you a usable software? Might or might not. Again, depending upon your length and breadth of the skin or the length and breadth of your team as well. Okay. And then again, all these understanding, again, it's a kind of evolution to the management thought process. So unless and until your manager or going for a managerial interview, you don't have to explain these things to anybody. But still, in some interview, they might ask you, do you need agile? What do you mean by agile? What do you mean by scrum? That's all. So the major things here to remember is daily scrum, the iterative way of developing something. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great, no problem. So I believe you understood it's in a meeting. Now again, there are some interview where we normally ask what are the agile values. So these are 4 agile values here. I'll give you these things. Again, these are basically displayed on agilemanifesto.org. It's a organization which regulates the agile thought process, which normally give you the guidelines for how to adopt to the agile. Okay, so it's copyrighted by them, and I'll give you the link is here. I'll give the PPT also, and I'll give you some good videos to be looked at for understanding agile. So agile manifesto establishes a set of 4 values that are people centric and result driven. Again, we talk about these things whenever we are trying to understand the evolutionary approach of a management. So individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So I mostly go and talk to the users, hey, do you want this way or that way, rather than having him email or send me a document over the email or scan and blah blah thing. So I want to reduce the overheads here. I want to have a flexibility and speedy process. Okay, efficient process. So working software rather than comprehensive documentation. So I'll have software testing rather than reading some help manual, so and so forth. Then responding to change rather than a following plan. So my plan has to be flexible to respond to the user's current needs and want. And there could be certain things which can be either barred by law, so I need to delete those requirements which are not being used or will not be used, so I need to knock those requirements rather than putting in the sprint. So that's what responding or adopting to the change. And customer collaboration than a contract negotiation. So the software is normally built over the customer's changing requirement. So I go to customer and collaborate with him rather than build a contract of what needs to be done. So HR systems development can start as a small project and goes as a large project also, because they started with a simple attendance management system or a simple salary disbursement system to a large HR project, which might include employee onboarding, HR executive onboarding, leave management, attendance management, parking management, the security camera management, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is how the 4 agile values normally get implemented. Now, I want you to make a cue card or some reference to these 4 values: individuals or interactions, working software, so respond to change, and customer collaboration. These are all IT-centric project we are talking about, but believe me, even in construction, they have adopted Agile. Okay, but still, whenever interviewer asks you what are the 4 agile values, these are 4 agile values. Okay, write it down somewhere and keep it ready whenever you are basically sitting for the interview. You might use a paste it, paste it, right? The yellow thing which you can paste somewhere.
Sir, you're gonna share the PDF, right?
Yeah, I'm going to share the PDF. You can keep a printout, but during interview, you can't scroll through pages, right? So for that,
No. Because I don't have any notebook right now, so that's why I'm asking.
but I would really suggest to have a pen and paper ready whenever you're sitting, but not an issue. Okay, I'm going to save the this PDF today. Okay, so
Okay, thank you.
no problem. It's my job basically. Nothing to be thanked about. 4 values and these 12 principles. Again, they'll not ask you 12 principles. They might want to list you 3 principles, whatever you can remember best. Okay, so at least write down 3 principles which you think are basically the best for this flexibility, collaboration, and adoption to the given changes. All these things talk about on these 3 principles mostly, but they have categorized this thing as a 12 principle. Okay, so first is our highest priority is satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. So early delivery to the user is early satisfaction. Okay, let's say you are making a tea. You are that caterer who give tea to let's say 20 odd residents. Okay, and you normally know everybody wakes up in the morning. Well, nowadays there are some differences. Like some people might wake up at 5:30, some might wake up at 9:30. In our good old days, all these people used to wake up during 5 to 7 a.m. That's a normal social stigma at that time. You might call it stigma, you might call it exaggeration or whatever. But today the young generation, they normally wake up late, so you have more time. So it's better manageable today. So that if you have a tea delivery service, you might have some users waking up at 5:30, some users waking up at 9:30 or 10, and these things happen in real life. So it's a practicability to it. Okay, so this way you plan your tea delivery. You might have number of executives at your hand depending upon the tea deliveries to be made after the button get pressed. Are you with me? Could you understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yes.
Okay, so this delivery of tea or making tea kind of really good example in terms of project management or UML as well, or software architecture. You can explain it anytime whenever you think it. Okay, the second one, Let me come. Oh, come on. Sorry. This, Zoom thing is on top of that. So that's why I couldn't read it. Oh, give me a minute, please. Come on. Oh, okay. I think this is much better. So, okay, welcome changing requirement, even the late development. Agile process harnesses the change for the customer's complete advantage. So we are collaborating with customer collaboration is at the top priority rather than sticking to the project plan, sticking to the sprint development and all. Okay. Again, this is a flexibility versus responsibility kind of scenario. There are plus and minus everywhere. Okay. But still, you can explain it as an agile principle. Does that make sense? It can be a bit confusing, but I think you got a motto behind it. Okay. So number 3, deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with a preference to the short time scale. So the earlier you deliver to the customer, the earlier you will basically get the satisfaction or result reported to you. Let's say you are building an HR system. Now you deliver the first software at the end of the second week, and the third week, fourth week start. So customer, we might ask you like when I'll get the next junk to test, but the customer is still testing the first iteration, installation deliveries like the card reader, the fingerprint reader, and so on and so forth. It's a progressive thing, but the earlier you deliver, the earlier you can get result, earlier you can adopt to the customers, or earlier you work collaboratively with the customer for any changes to be adopted. Business people and developers must work together through a daily throughout the project. So they normally insist on more interaction with the customer or improved customer collaboration on daily basis. Normally, it's not practically possible to have customer in your daily meeting, but it's advisable. It's what the overall evolutionary process depicts you. Fifth, build projects around motivated individuals, give them environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. Even the user's feedback is a challenging scenario. There are users who just keep giving feedback, which is not actually in line with whatever we are doing. Okay, so we need to ignore such user. We need to concentrate or prioritize on the user's feedback, which is more valuable, which can be implemented or adapted. Again, this principle doesn't talk about filtering of a user, but it's talk about prioritizing the requirement, the prioritizing the understanding of users and the systems, and overall adaptability of the actual work needed to be changed or needed to be done. 6.1. The most efficient and effective method of converging information to and within development team is face-to-face conversion. So rather than a meeting, rather than building a big document, I might go and sit with the customer, trying to have a Zoom call, Google Meet with the customer if she or he is not very near to me, and build the software or try to understand his predicament, his thought process, his background for a given requirement and adapt to them. So nowadays, even in North America, it's legalized to record meeting, to record audio, but you need to intimate the user first. But normally all project management meetings are recorded, like the way we are recording this session. It's as simple as that. In good old days, a video conferencing might cost hundreds of dollars. A good video, today it's reduced to a very few dollars, or these are subscription-based model. So I am paying, I think, around $114 per month for this Zoom license. So it's as simple as that. So I'm paying, if you're doing one meeting per day, so you can, make them, do the math and so on and so forth. So it's really, these things getting, improved, evolved over time. So we are, rather we have better solution now because of better project management thought processes, right? So that's what we are talking about. Number 7, working software is the primary measure of progress. Again, until and unless you give a working software to your user don't know what you're building, how you're building, unless and until your customer tests your first T, he or she don't know how good you are or how bad you are. Again, this is what the first impression is all about. But again, there are many times, if the manager is good, the user is really matured enough, he might go for the second T or third T as well. Again, it's a situational driven, but it's considered as a what you can say, working principle. So whatever you are delivering first time, it should be really good, really well tested for the user, and then we can give it to the user. So it's like do the first delivery in the best possible scenario. Eighth, agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsor, developer, and user should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Now, this might go against the flexibility kind of scenario, but that's what we want to understand in terms of a disciplined delivery approach. You normally tend to have a plan while delivering discipline with a number of sprint you give a delivery. So, like a normal thought process, you might have a delivery after each and every alternative sprint, and that's what they're talking about. Build a discipline, build a habit of delivering it on time or before time rather than delayed delivery. Again, these are my understanding of the principle. I would have you look at these principles and build your own thought process. Try to build at least 3 or 4 principles to be explained to the interviewer in case of if he asks for the agile principles. Total there are 12, but you might have to explain 1, 2, or 3 or 4 at the most. Okay, so choose whatever you could explain to the interviewer. Again, there are few interviews of these questions, but still nowadays, as an analyst, you are required to understand the agility, the flexibility, and the agile principle to adopt to the project management methodology. Okay, and as given in JD, they've stressed on this agile principle or what I can say, working of agile. So that's why I say we have to be prepared for such scenario, and that's how I'm guiding you on that. Okay. Ninth, continuous attention to technical excellence, good design and enhance agility, enhance flexibility on the go, build a good deliveries, build some technical excellence within your team as well for the better delivery. Simplicity, the art of the maximizing amount of work not being done, is essential. Again, simplifying your processes, building lesser documentations, more record the audio or video files so that the people can get inference from them rather than reading big documents. Okay, as we understood, right, today watching movie or documentary is much easier than reading a book or a manual. Are you with me on this? Hello?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So this is what the 10th point talks about. And I think it's much easier to explain. Simplicity of the art of maximizing amount of work not being done essential. Talks about lesser documentation and more visual, or audio visual instruments like voice file, voice recording or, meeting recording and so on. So 11th, best architecture requirements and design emerge from the self-organizing team. Now, self-organizing means you take the work which you like the most. If I like a work of meeting new people, understanding their thought, I might be a good coordinator. If I want to work, on a computer, I like programming, I might be a good developer. If I want to criticize or check the work done by others, I can be a good tester, good, validation and verification expert, and so on and so forth. Again, self-organizing means you adapt to the role which fits to your personality the most. Okay. Again, there are various, ways and means to explain this, but this is another principle which you can explain very easily. And 12 talks about at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjust to the behavior accordingly. So this is what we talk about, the flexibility and adaptability, evolution throughout the project. Believe me, whenever you start working project, you might work with 9 different people, but whenever you through with couple of sprint, you get to know these people, understanding their traits and traits, and you can respond to them better than a question asked by A or B, and so on and so forth. So this is like kind of adaptability of a given scenario, of a given situation, and progressively evolving in that thought process also. So our your communication get excellent day by day. Believe me, if you meet more people, you are improving your communication, you are improving your even English for that matters. So that's why meeting people is a need, and that's why I've suggested whenever you go to a mall or anywhere, try to talk to a couple of people. So even get to know the American accent, American culture. Even you can ask them as simple as that. Where could I find the nearest exist, and so on and so forth, like that. Again, it's an adoption to being a better human in a given way. Okay, any questions so far?
Nothing.
Okay, this is more of personal understanding. These are kind of philosophical principle. So you have to think it through. You have to build an answer, or you have to build your own words to answer or explain 3 or 4 principles in the distinctive way. There might be a good number of overlaps as well, as there are overlaps within this principle. But you might need to build 3 or 4 agile principle which you can explain to the interviewer in the simplest possible terms which you are comfortable in. Okay, so let's move on. Now, okay, now we are talking more about role and events here. Role, events, and artifact. These are the 3 things are important in overall understanding of agile processes, and agile implementation. Do you want me to continue for 15-20 minutes, or could we discuss this thing in the next session?
I think we should do it in the next session.
Okay, I'll share these slides with you so that ma'am you can go through these things. Okay, and
Sure. Yeah.
have a look at these. These are all things which you're going to learn. These are the 2 different major part of use case diagram. One is actor, that human sticky figure is actor, and that oval shape thing is use case. So when you are drawing use case, you're drawing such diagram. These box are system limitation or sprint limitation. So in release 1, I am building search for item and a place order. In release 2, I might build the customer support web pages. So if you look at the Amazon website, this is what we are looking for in terms of building the website from scratch. So how the customer interacts with the system, he search for the item. So when I log into the Amazon portal, the website, I search for, let's say I want an LED tube light. So I search for the LED tube light, which is suitable to my need. Do I need this wattage, that color, this length, and blah blah things, this brightness, and all those things. And after selection, I might place an order. So the Amazon service will reply saying you, okay, you have placed your order, you have to pay such and such thing, there are these many options to pay, and blah 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 things. So that's a system is a background actor, the customer is a prime actor, everything on left hand side is a prime actor, everything on the right hand side is a secondary actor, which might be a system, which might be a human, but the prime actors are mostly humans. And this is how we design this use case diagram. Just to face the interview, that's what I'm taking, telling you this thing. Okay, and user story is the story you make. So how the customer will place the order for a tube light. So if Ravindra wants to place order for a 2 tube lights, so what he look for, he'll open the Amazon website, he'll log into the Amazon website so that the system know who is Ravindra, what are here prior purchase, what is his preferred payment process, what is his home address, and how can achieve the quick delivery and all. This can happen only with a registered user. Okay, so whenever Ravindra chose 2 Philips LED tube lights of 1 foot each of 10 watt, and he said, okay, place order. Now Ravindra have pre-configured the payment process. So there could be, let's say, $20 get deducted from his bank directly, and the order get placed, and the Ravindra will be informed by SMS, email, and whatnot, saying you'll get this tube light by tomorrow evening between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So this is a user story I'm telling. Could you understand the difference between user story and use case?
Yes.
Okay. Now from user story, you have to build use case, which is more concrete. So rather than telling this thing, you can ship the audio recording as well. But most of the time, these use case diagram are normally documented as an auditory artifact of design thought process, design evolution. Okay. And these are the things which are this thing. So I'll share this much PPT to you till user story. Okay. But believe me, our discussion is important because to learn from human is much more preferred psychologically. You adopt more, you try to conceive more whenever you learn from a human. So please be there on Monday 9:30 and we'll discuss these things. These are really great things. It's a kind of, believe me, if you adopt these things to even your daily lifestyle, like making tea, making coffee, it'll make your life more scientific, more emotion controlled way. So rather than mood swings, I'll have some scientific mood swing. Well, that's a joke. We'll discuss that thing sometime, some other time. Okay. So,
Okay.
have any question for me?
Nothing from my end.
Sahil sir, anything from your side?
No.
Okay, so we'll stop here. But yeah, we need to learn all these scenarios. Believe me, these are really great thought processes. So, once you start learning these things, even MOM and to-do list are the simplest analytical example. To-do list is really easy to explain. So if somebody asks me, which tool you like, so you can say to-do list. You know to-do list, right?
Yeah, it's like a notepad. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do Notepad, you can do on WhatsApp, you can do on Google's To Do and whatnot. There are but tool doesn't label it. To do list is I wake up in the morning or before going to sleep, I plan my next day, plan my coming day. That's what daily to-do list. There's a daily week. There is a weekly to-do list as well, and there's a yearly to-do list as well. But normally, when you refer to to-do list, it's a daily to-do list. So some does it in the late night whenever going to sleep. You normally send message to self, or you normally have a software where you do so tomorrow I'll do this 10 different things so that I don't forget. It's a scientific way of planning a day. Does it mean that I'll get whatever 12 items I have written there? No. I might do 13, I might do 11. Again, depending upon my variables, depending upon my how the day proceeds. There could be rain, and I might be able to do 3 or 4 things from the 12 number list as well. Again, these things do happen. Does it mean that my day was a failure? No, no, no. It's a part and parcel of life. So there are some shortcomings and there are some exceeded expectations. Okay, so this way the management happens, but we adopt to this scenario. We get better day by day, and that's the beauty of the brilliance. That's the beauty of the intelligence. Okay, I'll stop talking right now. I think I talked a lot. So I'll release this video in my evening. Okay, so let's meet again on Monday evening. Okay. There's no problem, right?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. You have a great night and great weekend. Bye. Take
Good
care.
night.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Please do write to me. Okay. Thank you. Bye.